Hello, and welcome to our new channel. It's called Negative Ball Knowledge. Right, now, I wouldn't say that means that we've got no ball knowledge. It just means that we make it up as we go along sometimes.
Yeah.
And we probably think that we know more than we do. But anyway, my name's Craig.
My name's Tom.
We're father and son, in case you hadn't worked that one out.
Pretty obvious.
And we are massive Liverpool fans, which doesn't mean that this is going to be a Liverpool-themed channel. It's going to be us chatting about all things football.
Yeah.
And we will obviously spend some time focusing on Liverpool at times when it's important. And we'll try and keep it as unbiased as possible.
Yeah, we will definitely try.
We'll try. That doesn't mean it will be unbiased.
Yeah, talking about Manchester City, let's not go there.
No, well, maybe later. But ultimately, it's going to be as level and reasonable as we can make it.
Yeah.
Along with probably some outlandish claims along the way.
Yeah. Controversial and all. It's YouTube, isn't it?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right, so where are we starting for our first ever attempt at this?
Klopp, I guess.
Well, you've got to talk about Klopp, haven't
9 years at Liverpool.
you? 9 years. 9 years of the many, many years that I've followed them.
Yeah, not me.
Well, no, not you. You've pretty much only ever known Klopp, haven't you?
Yeah. That's it for me. It's just been Klopp. That's why it made it so difficult, I think.
Well, you're a lucky person because you never had to live through the Hodgson time.
Yeah. Those were miserable, as I've seen and heard.
They were miserable. But you know what? I've always been a Liverpool fan, and I always will be.
Yeah.
People will be going, but you're not from Liverpool.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
How dare he?
I'm not from Liverpool, but I've always been a Liverpool fan. And I've obviously done well by making my children Liverpool fans as well.
There you go.
Because what else could you do?
Well, exactly. What team would you support? Like Manchester City? Man United? Oof. Yeah, no.
Yeah, all right, let's not even go down that road. That's like a whole series
Yeah.
of discussions about them.
How shite they are.
Well, yeah.
So.
Good times these days, right?
Yeah.
So what we going to start? So Klopp, yeah. So I would say that it was an amazing 9 years.
Yeah, it was.
I can't really point to having much clue about him when he came in.
Yeah.
Apart from seeing his press conferences, thinking, I like this bloke.
He has some aura.
He's funny. He was charismatic. He was funny, and he made all the right noises. But then again, you know, most managers when they do come in make all the right noises, say all the right things that the fans want to hear. But I don't know. There was something different about him right from the off.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just his massive teeth.
Yeah.
But and his glasses. But then he lost the glasses because he had his eyes done, and then it was all a bit weird.
Yeah, didn't like that.
He changed.
It looked weird.
Yeah.
Didn't look right.
But anyway.
Some incredible moments through those 9 years, weren't there?
Oh yeah. Just.
I mean, like Dortmund, Anfield 4-3.
Yeah.
Is it 5-4 against Norwich?
Norwich, Lallana's winner.
His glasses being broken.
Yeah.
That's something incredible. And obviously the Premier League, Champions League winning side.
Yeah. And that will still, the Premier League will never be the same as it would have been if we had done it in front of the fans. And that, I feel sorry for him that he never had that.
Yeah, that was.
At least he had the Champions League, and that
was.
Some people will see that as bigger than the Premier League, others not.
Maybe for Liverpool fans it's not bigger because we never won the Premier League until then, 30 years without a league title. I think the Premier League was that step.
Obviously, people may have worked out that I'm old enough to have experienced us winning the league.
Yeah.
And it was, good times back then.
Yeah.
But having not won it for so many years, it was starting to become a bit of a weight and a bit of a, all the many years of Man U, like we touched on already, about having the gloating from them because they were winning so much.
And we just used to fall at the final hurdle.
We did.
Many times under Hodgson and Benitez as well. Tried, failed.
Yeah, so close in 2014. But these things happen.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably there was no doubt it was the right choice to bring Klopp in. There
Oh,
was no
yeah.
doubt that he
There was no one else.
was the man. He had that affinity with the crowd and the supporters and the ability to get. He had the same thing. He had that ability to get people on side.
That's what the owners did a really good job of identifying with Liverpool managers, actually finding that the man that could bring the supporters back to the club because of how separate they were back in those around 2014, 2015.
Yeah, there was a disconnect. There was. Definitely. Because the crowd were always there for Liverpool, always have been, always will be, but there was a disconnect between them and the hierarchy and the managers. And I think the other clever thing was obviously the other hierarchy they brought in that did the recruitment and worked with Klopp, obviously, Michael Edwards, and to get the players that they got in,
I mean,
and the players they sold as well,
Wijnaldum, Van Dijk, to bring in all these players and
Alisson,
it set up Liverpool for till now.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that all started, which many people will probably point to, was the sale of Coutinho.
Yeah.
And getting 140 million for him,
Incredible.
which really paid for Van Dijk and Alisson.
Yeah.
And set the ball rolling, didn't it?
For the Champions League win and then Premier League. So, yeah, it definitely did well.
And then, so, like we just said, 9 years of amazing times. And I suppose we probably expected him to go a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah, when we had
we had a really bad season, we thought he'd probably be
Champions
gone.
League 5-2.
Yeah. And I think I expected him maybe to go then.
Yeah.
But he extended, didn't he? Or had he extended the year before?
He extended the year before when the quadruple charge and we lost the Champions League and Premier League.
And I didn't expect him to extend then, but he did. So that made me think he maybe would then stay.
Yeah.
But then because of that bad season,
he extended to 2026.
Yeah. But because of that bad season,
it made him realise.
But he then wanted to rebuild, didn't he? And this is what he said.
And then we did the midfield rebuild.
And that was incredible.
Yeah.
And the change to last season.
Switch.
Yeah. So the ability to build that up so quickly.
Losing your captain.
Yeah. Who had been amazing for us.
There's no doubt. I have problems with the way he left, but I will never deny how good a player he was for us. And the captain, he led amazingly for us.
And no matter who you speak to, isn't it? But you hear interviews all the time about how they revered his leadership. Other teams, other players were knocked to, blown away by the level of leadership that Henderson gave to that team.
Ben Foster was talking about.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, so it shows you how important he was.
Yeah,
but to be able to, I suppose the trouble is people will look back and they'll go, "Well, how important was he? Because he went and he had a really good season." So,
but Virgil van Dijk
stepped up.
He did step up,
and there were older players. Milner was still there, wasn't he, at that point? Or did he go? No, he went
as well.
He went at the same
to
time.
Brighton as well. So we lost a lot of leadership there.
We did lose a lot of that leadership.
And the players, credit to Klopp and players for stepping up at those times.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And then we go on to win the Carabao Cup last season.
Yeah.
That was an incredible moment.
Yeah. And then,
it's a shame that we didn't leave him with a bigger trophy.
Yeah, that's what we did talk about that, didn't we, a while back? It would have been nice to
leave with a Premier League or Champions League.
Something bigger.
League, Europa League.
Yeah, something like that. Would have been.
The Europa League in Dublin would have been nice.
Yeah, would have been.
But we bottled it.
We did.
Yeah,
Atalanta were just too good.
They were incredible.
They went
on to win it as well, so credit to them.
Over both games, they were
amazing. They identified the way we played and completely nullified everything we did.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And then, I suppose we then have to move to the day it all broke.
Yeah.
What were you like?
Well, I come back from college, issues there, and it broke me.
It did. I remember.
I was already in a crap mood, and then Mum told me. She was like scrolling through the news and said Jurgen Klopp's leaving. I was like, no, he's not. What are you reading? That's bullshit. And I went on to Twitter, and then watched the video. I was in. It was weird. I was in disbelief.
I was not so shocked. I'm shocked that he'd gone, but I'm obviously many more years of dealing with managers going, when Kenny went and things like that. I've been used to it over the years, so it was a big
for me
thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of was like, okay, fair enough. If he's going and he's got to go, and I understood why.
Yeah.
He'd reached that point where he'd done, and no matter what anybody says, the way he had been a manager of Liverpool was more than just being that bloke who runs the team.
He ran the club.
He was running the club. He was totally ensconced in the city and the people and the fans and everything.
There's so much pressure,
and it makes the pressure is ridiculous. And I think he always said from very early on, didn't he? He said, at the point where it's no longer fun, or I'm not enjoying it, or my family are not happy, at that point I will go.
Well, the reason why he was thinking about the next season, where around like early on in the season they start preparing for the next season for stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
And he couldn't imagine himself there.
No.
For this season, he couldn't imagine.
He wasn't getting excited about doing
pre-season.
it. That's what he said. Yeah, he didn't have the motivation.
Yeah.
To come back and do it all again, and that's fair enough. Because at that point, if you don't go, you're then just doing the club a disservice by sticking around. So he did the right thing.
He did, and I think why it was such a huge shock and really difficult for me was because all I knew from Liverpool was Klopp, the Klopp football, the comebacks, the European nights, the excitement, the 4-0 Barcelona, the winning the Premier League 3-1 against Manchester City, the twice moment, and all those incredible moments that we had, and that's all I knew.
Yeah.
All I knew was success and exciting football. Yeah. And we had two bad seasons out of 9.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then we move on to Arne Slot.
Arne Slot. What a start.
Well, who'd heard of him?
Well, it's funny. So I play Football Manager, and on one of my saves, I had used a cheat engine. This was maybe when I found out Klopp was leaving. So and I had started a new save, and then I put for Klopp to retire in the game at the same time he would in real life, to make the save realistic for me.
Yeah.
Because it would be weird and annoying to see Jurgen Klopp winning the Champions League at Liverpool in 2028.
Yeah.
It would look weird. So I changed that. And they brought in-game, I didn't do any of this, they brought in Arne Slot in-game.
Did they?
Yeah. So I was like, so I knew about him, I had heard about him.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect him because of the talk of Xabi Alonso and then Ruben Amorim. It wasn't a name that was brought up right until we left Amorim at the table.
Yeah. You were kind of upset about losing him, weren't you?
Yeah, I did a lot of Liverpool fans did a lot of research into Xabi Alonso and then into Ruben Amorim, and I thought, okay, Ruben Amorim, the club were interested, he was interested.
I was genuinely excited about Alonso.
Yeah, same.
But I think
it seemed like the perfect match.
It did seem like the perfect match, and it seemed like the stars aligned, and it was all going to work perfectly with him coming, and he has definitely got a link with Liverpool fans. I loved him as a player.
Yeah, I
think he was brilliant, and he fit really well, and I think the way he plays and all the rest of it with what he was doing would have slotted into our into our team. But ultimately, I'm guessing I think he felt it was too soon or whatever, didn't he?
Yeah.
And you know what? If you don't want to come to our club, then you're dead to me. So
yeah, exactly.
That was it. When he was like, no, right, let's move on. Yeah. Who's next?
That's what the club did.
And then they come up with somebody that I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
Now, fair play if the fact that they've been able to identify somebody that fits the mold.
It must have been where the main things about Slot was the fact that he could perform with a strict budget, and we all know with FSG we don't have the biggest budget. We'll spend when we need to, but we don't have the biggest budget compared to Manchester City and Manchester United and and Arsenal. So,
well, at least we know we'll always be able to spend better than Man United, though. That's the one thing.
Well, we'll spend better, as in be more intelligent.
Not more, but just better. Yeah,
just better. Better as a club.
And so it begins.
Yeah. But it was the whole identifying how he played as well, how he developed players, and under that budget at Feyenoord to win a title against the likes of Ajax, PSV in that league.
Yeah,
that was a difficult task, and he did that well.
And you've got to find somebody who's got the cojones to take on a job like Liverpool.
Yeah.
And there probably aren't that many managers out there that would go, yeah, I can go there and do that. Especially
taking after
Klopp.
That is such a difficult job to do. When you're thinking about it as a manager, you must be like, that's daunting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And fair play to him, because he's come over here and his family aren't here yet.
No.
So he's been staying in a hotel or whatever. He's trying to get house sorted. So that's difficult for anybody.
It is
to go to a foreign country and to be without your family and in a strange city
and go to a club
to be being, the minute you come in as Liverpool manager, you're put up on a pedestal as somebody who's got to bring success.
But more in the spotlight with the fans because the connection that the fans had with Klopp.
Exactly, and they crave that. As a Liverpool fan, you do.
Oh, I do.
And I know
after every game, the fist
and I can
bumps.
say that because I'm not from Liverpool, so I don't feel it the same as they do as a Liverpool as a Liverpudlian, as a Scouser. But I feel like I've got the same feeling because I am a Liverpool fan and always have been.
Love Liverpool
and love them. As a club, I love the way they do. I love the way they do everything. It's always been slightly different to me, the way that club's run and the way it's dealt with. So I think him coming in has been a good thing.
Yeah.
I think they're probably, whether there could have been something better, like we've just said, I don't know. That could have been better.
We could have got Javi Alonso and been better, but we don't know.
But you'll never know.
We'll never know.
And ultimately, he's come in. He's had a pretty good start.
Beating Man United 3-0.
Well, that's just a standard now, isn't it?
But it's incredible.
It is. Yeah.
It's an incredible moment.
Yeah, we don't see it as a massive thing anymore. Beating Man United comfortably.
No.
But it used to be.
It used to be, yeah.
Rarely did it happen. So it's becoming a bit of a habit, which is nice. One of my more enjoyable parts of watching football over the last 6-7 years has been that complete switch in the domination away from them. And all right, it's not us completely dominating like they were, because obviously Man City are
allegedly cheating
who they are. But yeah, but we've been there or thereabouts, and I think we I suppose we touched on it, but for the ability of the team that Klopp put together to have challenged them and been so close and to raise those levels so much like they did, it was incredible.
Oh,
and I'm glad that I've been around to see all that.
Oh, 100%.
Really, really glad, because it's been one of our best times.
It has,
as a club. And then I suppose, good luck to Arna. I hope, I think the result the other night in Milan was amazing.
Really good
we didn't
result.
start off fantastically well.
No.
But we went on to then completely control the game. And we were talking about it earlier, it's really nice to see that, where we've gone to Milan, we've gone a goal down in 3 minutes, we've come back and won comfortably against, they're not a poor Milan side.
No,
they're
not
good.
They're not terrible.
Side.
I mean, and they're not the Italian football's not the Italian football of old.
No, of course.
So the clubs, when I see Milan these days, I'm not like, oh shit, we have to play Milan.
No.
I'm like, okay. Difficult fixture because you're going to the San Siro, but it's not. It's a winnable fixture.
Yeah.
A very winnable fixture if you play well.
I've followed Liverpool for 40 years, 45 years. I've never had that feeling about Milan. We can go 3-0 down to them.
Exactly.
Well,
don't talk about 2007 then.
Let's not talk about the other one now. But so to do that, and especially off the back of, let's not talk about last weekend where we lost to Forest, but
silly.
I think there was probably a lot of stuff going on there with being back in the Champions League, going to Milan. It's on people's mind, and no matter what anybody says, people are human, players are human. They've got these things on their mind, and they know they're going to play a massive game. And like we said, a lot of them, it's sort of debuts in Champions League for Liverpool. It's first time for some of them playing in the Champions League at all. And we think we have big players, but there's a lot of them that have come from smaller clubs that haven't played in that and got that experience.
For example, come from Brighton,
not had a massive experience.
Made a Champions League debut.
Yeah. You wouldn't say, I don't say Sobo's had massive experience of the Champions League.
He's
he did play in it, didn't he? But he's not huge.
For Salzburg and Leipzig.
But not massive amounts of seasons, because he's not that old to have done it for many years. So, and I think we said, Mo potentially could be his last season, or
I hope not.
Hopefully he will sign something new. But he knows he's got something to prove. He wanted to be back in the Champions League. That's where he knows he belongs.
Because that's his top level. That's his level.
He deserves to be there, and he wants to prove something as well, I would think, in that competition.
Yeah.
So I think after a really good start, that little blip, and then to go there on Wednesday and do that, Tuesday, and do that, I'm really confident.
Yeah.
About how we're doing.
Tomorrow we're playing Bournemouth. So we're recording this now on the Friday.
Yeah.
We got Bournemouth tomorrow on Saturday at 3
Bournemouth at home. I don't think we've ever lost to them at Anfield, have we?
Well, we beat them 9-0.
Yeah. I think we've drawn with them once at Anfield, haven't we?
We beat them last season at home. Same fixture, I think. Same around the same time.
So, yeah. I don't know. I'm always confident going into a game.
Yeah.
And let's hope that the right Liverpool turn up tomorrow and
hungry Liverpool.
Have a nice, comfortable victory against them, so that we can keep our place at the top of the table.
Yeah, stay around Manchester City and
staying
Arsenal.
in and around them too, and live, to go on into the next games after that and see where it takes us. But as it stands, Slot, I would say 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
For me, so far.
I'm going to say 9.
It's going to give him a 9. Okay, fair enough. It's I'm probably leaning towards an 8, maybe an 8.5.
Yeah.
But he's had a good start. You can't deny it.
I think pre-season was really good as well.
Pre-season was really good. I think he's putting in a style of play that is very similar to Klopp, but tweaked in some ways. And I think I remember reading an interview with him around the risk and reward factors that they're doing now, whereas Klopp's was always, I thought it was sort of seemed like there was everything was worth risking to gain the reward. Whereas now there's a bit more thinking going on in those decision making moments.
With Klopp, we had a lot that bit us on the ass.
Yeah.
Champions League final, Robbo in 2021, is it 2022?
Yeah.
Robbo's bombing up to press whoever was up there.
Yeah.
And then Vinicius gets in and scores, or whoever scored for Real Madrid. That's cost us so many times.
Yeah.
Against Manchester City, we've been hit on the break, or
and it does, and that was always the rough with the smooth with Klopp's team. We knew that,
but when we were on it,
and it was exciting to watch. And when we were, the times we put teams away in 5, 10, 15 minute spells.
In 2019-2020 season, Boxing Day against Leicester,
yes,
they never had a chance. 4-0.
Yeah.
Absolutely trounced them, and they were second in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely trounced.
And that's when we were on it. When that team was on it like that, nobody in the world could live with us.
We couldn't. Yeah.
Most definitely.
We could.
We did it to City.
Yes.
A couple of times. When we were properly on it, and all right. I suppose any team can say on our day. And I think that is the thing about the Premier League, isn't it? On their day, that most teams in that league can give another team a game, and if the other one aren't quite on it, then you're going to go out on top and probably do well. So, I think the way we've now started, like we said, I think there's a little bit more measured decision making in those moments.
You can see it where
is this worth the risk?
When we see it, especially against Man United and Forest, especially, I think, where a Jurgen Klopp team, when we had the ball, we would bomb forward. Both fullbacks would be going forward, and we'd be going for it. Where under Slot, the fullbacks are still back, and then we'll pass it back to the centre back.
Yeah.
Whereas we would never have done that under Klopp. We'd have kept going forward.
I think we're making sure we don't get exposed in those transitional moments. Yeah, where we used to get exposed a lot. If it was coming out of defence and you lose it when that first ball out of defence, then you're in so much trouble. Exactly like Casemiro did for United against us.
Yeah.
And we exploited it and scored.
Like Henderson and Fabinho in that last season with them, they struggled with that in the transitional moments. We got absolutely battered in the transition.
Like you always used to say, Fabinho turned into a 60-year-old man
80.
overnight.
He literally, his legs suddenly left him.
Yep.
Leave the football before the football leaves you, as Carragher says.
He obviously wasn't doing those ice baths.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, right. So anyway, we've covered Liverpool.
Yeah.
And we're happy. And we think that it's going to be a successful season.
Hopefully.
But anyway, we'll be talking about a lot of that as we go on.
Yeah.
Because we've got how many more games left? 34.
Ridiculous amount.
34 games.
A lot of match reviews.
Quite a few. And hopefully positive ones.
Yes.
Because I don't know if I can sit there and just pick over the bones of us losing every week.
No, I don't think I could.
I'm not sure I'll be able to do that.
I think I'd retire before we
So we need a successful season, everybody, or you might not see much of us.
Or Manchester City have a terrible season and we can just banter them the whole time.
Just talk about them the whole time, yeah. About how rubbish they are. Yes. Yeah. And anyway, so that's a nice segue, that. Man City. Are we going to go on to talking about that? Because I think that is the elephant in the room.
It is. We have to talk about it. I think their charges that they've got. Their hearing started
115 Monday. Of them.
Yeah.
So that started on Monday, didn't it?
Monday.
Nobody knows how long it's going to take because it's secretive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody even knows where it's being held, do they? I suppose maybe because could City try and influence it or something?
Wow.
But then they obviously have their lawyers there anyway.
Yeah.
So I suppose the thing we got to start on is then what I've got to ask you. So the 115 charges. What do you make of them? Do you think they are warranted? Do you think that they've got any chance of getting away with it? And do you think that if they don't get away with it, what level of punishment do you think they might get?
Yeah, I think the charges, I do think they are deserved. Obviously, I don't have the evidence to say factually, yes, they are guilty. But we've all got eyes. We all know what's going on behind the scenes, really. Think about their sponsor on the kit and their stadium sponsor. You've got the Etihad Airways.
Yep.
It's not a coincidence that their owners own Etihad Airways and then somehow they didn't know that Etihad Airways started sponsoring Manchester City. Come on. Their 8xBet. It's a fake company. It's a bullshit company. We've all seen it. I think we've seen it online last year. It went around where they were using like models to pose on their website as the CEO.
No.
So there's a lot of fake sponsorship deals going in to inflate their earnings.
Yeah.
Allegedly, yeah. Yes. But Manchester City do not have that commercial revenue, but they do.
Yeah.
They're not a big club in terms of China, Japan, America.
Worldwide, no.
Worldwide,
they
they're
don't have
not.
A worldwide fan base. They're probably growing it now.
They're growing it now, but only because of what they've done.
Not on anywhere near the likes of Real Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona,
we all know that
Man U.
Haaland, De Bruyne are on more money than
their weekly wage. Yeah.
And I mean, what's his name? Who did a Mancini?
Yeah.
Went
supposedly did a 4-day thing and then got paid supposedly a huge amount of money, which has now been claimed that it was obviously part of his salary that they couldn't put through the books as salary. I think I've always had, yes, football is governed by money, and no matter what anybody says, it's very much governed by money now.
Yeah,
it always has been.
It has.
Okay, so clubs that were the most successful were normally the richest.
Yeah,
and they were normally the richest because they had the biggest fan base, the biggest stadium.
Yeah.
Occasionally, ones came along with a big benefactor.
Yeah, Chelsea.
So let's go back before Chelsea. You go back to Blackburn.
Yeah.
With Sir John Walker.
Yeah, they won the league.
So they won the league through him pumping loads of money in, and there was no profit and sustainability rules or financial fair play back then. He was a millionaire. He bought the club. He pumped loads of money in, managed to bring in the best players, and he won the league. Yeah. Now that isn't much different to what City are doing, but we're talking about the level and the depth of the pockets, and that ultimately he didn't have any rules to comply with back then when he did it. You can't now say, as a club, well, they did it then, like Chelsea did as well, with Abramovich. You can't then say, oh, they were allowed to do it, so that means I should be allowed to, because that's not, the rules have changed, and the rules have changed for a reason, because it's to keep clubs from overextending like Leeds did back in the day and nearly going bankrupt and all those stupidity things that were happening with the money and all of it at that time.
Yeah.
So my opinion is, yes, I'm not arguing with anybody that the richest clubs will ultimately win benefit. And will normally do the best, but those riches have got to come from earning it the right way. And that
unfortunately, with the way that the Premier League and football is set up in this modern world, the big clubs stay on top. Unfortunately, that's how that works.
Well, that's life.
That is life.
People, the companies, whatever, the ones that are the richest are the ones that will be at the top and the ones that will do the best. And that is the way of it. Yeah. But I think, the profit and sustainability, all the rest of it, are there to try and keep the playing field a little bit more level.
Yeah.
Because it means that the smaller clubs, but other people say that the smaller clubs are being penalised by this because they can't pump money in. But it also is protecting them from putting too much money in.
Yeah. The top six, you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Manchester City, Spurs, and Chelsea.
Yeah. More than six.
That's six.
Was it?
Yeah. That's the top six. But you think about Aston Villa the last 2 seasons under Unai Emery, what they're doing. They're not spending a huge amount. They're spending money.
Yeah.
But they're breaking in. So I wouldn't say that
staying within
top six. I wouldn't say the top six is impenetrable.
No.
Because, I don't think Spurs and Chelsea have been great recently. No. Spurs not this season, but Chelsea for the last 3 years have been crap.
Chelsea's been awful, let's be honest. Their whole experiment of buying 150 players, given 10-year contracts,
and being on $3 million a week.
Yeah, it's all a little bit mad. But then they're not even giving them huge. They're not. A lot of them are not even on huge wages. Are they? No. They just know that they've got 8 years on reasonable wages, $80,000 a week. And you don't even have to play. Because you can sit there for 8 years and get paid that. Yeah. So what motivation is there to be a good player, to push yourself, what motivation is there for, I don't know, say Mudryk, to go out there after training every day and fire crosses into the box, or to do free kicks, or like players like Trent do, like players like Beckham used to do. Yeah. That constant training. If you've got an 8-year contract, where's the motivation to do that? I can't see that I would. Because unless you've got a real hunger for success. Yeah. But I don't know that I'd sign an 8-year contract at that club if I had a real hunger for success for my long-term career, because they could hold you to that 8-year contract.
Yeah, they can.
And not let you go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you are tying yourself down for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't get that model at all, and I don't see that it's probably going to work. But getting back to so I think I agree with you on that City have definitely broken some rules somewhere along the line. Allegedly. I think that they're trying to cover stuff up. They've been obviously trying to...
Well, the evidence that came out for the European courts. Yeah. And they were banned from the Champions League.
Well, it was proven.
It was proven correct. Yeah. But because of statute of limitations...
The time limit,
It's...
They weren't able to prosecute.
So I can't see how the Premier League won't be able to prosecute.
So this is the next thing then. So we're talking 115 charges, yeah? So Everton accepted one charge and got a 10-point deduction.
Yeah.
So Forest got
4 points.
Reduced to 4, didn't it, from 6?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, for one charge.
Yeah.
So if anywhere near...
Even if you're going at the bottom, so 4 times 115...
That's 460.
So you got 460 point, and I don't think that's enough. I genuinely think they should be expelled from the Premier League. And
but if they got a 460 point deduction, that would put them down for how.
40,
but then
90.
Yeah, but then you can't. The thing is, you can't do that, can you? Because you can't then.
You can't
carry that over into the next season, can you?
And you can, but you can't tell the EFL what to do. Because the EFL are a completely different entity to the Premier League. So the EFL don't have to accept Manchester City into the EFL.
Well, no,
which would mean that they would be bummed into the National League.
But then
the National League don't have to accept them.
Yeah, but what, are they really going to say no? Because of the money that would bring in through the revenue of the TV rights and the interest and all the rest of it?
Any interest.
Yeah, but there would be, wouldn't
because Pep Guardiola would leave, Haaland, all the top players that they have would go, the staff would go, the owners would probably sell up. Then you'd have the same Manchester City that was at Main Road, but just at a stadium that they can't afford.
Yeah.
It would be the end of Manchester City.
You would imagine so. And we talked
Which
about
is sad.
you would think that their massively rich owners would go at that point.
They would, yeah.
Can't see they'd stick around.
I can't see it. I would be thinking if City fans think that
their experiment would be over, and they'd move on and look for someone else because they're not emotionally attached to that club. Let's be honest, are they?
What, Shipman still goes there? What, every 5 years? He's not invested in it. Let's be honest.
I don't know. It's a weird one, and I hope it gets settled. Soonish. But like I say, even it's probably not going to be until next year. Till the result, and then there's going to be an appeal, and then
it's going to be.
I think the worst thing for me, one of the worst things for me about it is like Guardiola saying, "Oh, if they've lied to me, then I'll be gone." But you telling me that you don't think already that you've been lied to?
How does he not know? How I don't know how he can turn the blind eye.
And has he signed an extension?
Yeah. No.
He hasn't. He's got 1 year left, hasn't he? Mm. So I reckon. He's looking to go at that, and then he won't have to answer because he knows.
1 year left this season left.
This season left, yeah. So he knows that this is not going to be finalised by the end of this season because there'll be appeals and stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he knows he can walk away at the end of this season and not have to answer any questions about. You said you were going to go if they were found guilty.
Yeah.
All right, they will have been found guilty potentially. We don't know for sure, but it seems like. At least some of those charges have got to be proven.
100%.
And then at that point, what's he going to do? Does he then go? He ain't going to go mid-season in February, whatever, when they come out with their decision, is he? But he'll then say, well, the appeal's in, and that means nothing's been proven yet until the appeal is done. And then he'll be able to walk away at the end of the season.
The one worry I have with this whole stuff is that they'll get away with it because... either a lack of evidence or just the amount of money that they'll throw at these lawyers.
Well, yeah. And they've always claimed, haven't they, that the evidence was obtained illegally because it was a hack and all the rest of it. But if the evidence is there...
But the Premier League have acquired this evidence.
Well, yeah, they were hiding it from UEFA as well, weren't they? Supposedly.
And they've been hiding it from... They haven't been allowing
access.
The Premier League to look at the books.
No.
If you're not guilty, why are you hiding it and why are you fighting it? This is the point. If you're guilty, why hide it and why... Just show your books, show you have nothing to hide. But they can't do that because they know they've done something wrong. Yeah. This is where it is.
And this is the trouble with the legality of it all. They'll be bending the rules and massaging the rules and whatever. And with expensive and fancy lawyers, they can probably make arguments that say... Well, yeah, we bent the rule, but we didn't break it, and we did this and we did that, and it's close enough of a doubt. There'll be a loophole or some doubt somewhere. That's my worry that their lawyers are that good that they'll come up with something. And you are talking about the Premier League here. Mm-hmm. That is the Premier League's rules and regulations and all the rest of it watertight. That they're not going to be able to talk their way out of it through the regs being picked apart. That says, well, that's wrong, and you've done that, and yeah, this is what I see happening.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's
if they get proven guilty and then there's no way that they can appeal it because they're so guilty, then
then I don't know what's going to happen.
But then, so if they do get found guilty, like, where's the integrity of the league? Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Because they have been cheating, and there's been 4 out of the 5 last Premier League titles have been cheated to win.
But nobody will ever be able to say for sure that if they weren't doing what they were doing, they wouldn't have won the league as well.
But they wouldn't, because they wouldn't have had none of that. They wouldn't have had Pep Guardiola, they wouldn't have Haaland, they wouldn't have had any of their players.
You still can't say for sure.
They would be mid-table.
Because they might necessarily not have spent as much, but they still had money to spend. And they still could have lived within the rules.
They might have done...
Possibly.
Yeah. But I just think the integrity then especially in the Premier League is very much. I mean, Mark Goldbridge talks a lot about it, and I think the integrity of the game if that gets proven and they get proven guilty, then you can't.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do going from there.
There's nothing you can go back on though.
No, I said I would not want to be gifted titles because we lost out on 1 point.
No.
They are never going to. We're never going to be able to celebrate those titles. Arsenal will never be able to celebrate last season or the season before.
No.
We won't be able to celebrate the 18-19, the 2021-22 title because we lost those titles.
Yeah.
And we will never get that back. Man United will never get back the Aguero moment. They will never get rid of that pain that they went through with the Aguero moment.
But then that's one that I kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
because
that's when you liked Manchester
City.
You like Manchester City then. It's funny.
It is funny. But there you go. So, I don't know. It's I want to find out now. I want to know. I just want it to come to an end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And there to be some kind of conclusion and closure on it. So I think everybody can move on.
Yeah.
And we can all get back to obviously the rules are being changed now. They're doing some tweaks to it all.
Making it a bit stricter, I think.
And making it probably whatever they're doing is making it clearer and I think easier for clubs to not get themselves into that position where they do break the rules, like Everton and Forest did and had to admit it because they had no choice. But like we said, football will continue on with the haves and the have-nots. But I just think it's only fair that if you've built a legacy of a club over 100 years or whatever, and you've managed to build that fan base worldwide, and you've managed to get your stadium into the place where it brings in loads of revenue, and your marketing and all the rest of it brings in loads of revenue, then that should make you a richer club, and there's no doubt about that.
Liverpool, Man United.
Yeah.
Those are the two examples in English football where they've done it over a long period
throughout the world, yeah.
And Man United have built their revenue fairly. Liverpool have done it fairly because of their success. Man United from their success from the 80s onwards. Yeah. Liverpool from their success in the 60s and 70s and the 80s. And then recent.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It is fair, yeah.
We've got stadiums. Man United still bringing a lot of revenue from their stadium, even though if it's falling apart and crumbling, they'll still 80. Is it like 75,000 seater?
70, plus.
So,
yeah. But I think they're going to have to start again, aren't they?
Yeah, they will.
So, but yeah, they've got a long way back.
They do.
That's good, and we can all revel in that.
We can.
All Liverpool fans out there, I know you'll be feeling the same thing. So, and sorry to any Man U fans watching, you probably just switched off. So
yeah, bye.
Right. Okay. So, is that us for this week?
I think it is. Yeah.
Well, today anyway.
Around 42 minutes.
It's probably long enough for people to listen to us rambling on, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
We've covered a few decent topics. We've probably annoyed a few people.
Rambling.
Yeah, annoyed a few people. And we will go away and prepare for the next episode of Negative Ball Knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for watching.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.